Hey there, it's Andrew with ADS, here to bring you the very best in marketing and branding tips, as well as business tips for those of you who are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and personal branders. Welcome and thanks so much for being here. Today's topic is all about challenges, online challenges. At TSP Live 2019, we've been covering this conference forever and ever now. TSP Live 2019, there was a speaker there named Jamal Miller who was talking all about challenges, online challenges. And so today I'm going to give you the quick rundown of what happened here and why you want to know about it. First of all, number one reason why you want to know about it, their online challenge, he has a wife. He and his wife kind of tag team this. They're in a ministry type of a thing, but their challenges are all based around like relationships and love and all this. So I'll tell you about their challenges. Bottom line on why these challenges matter to you, the small business owner, let me tell you what they did. Grossed $423,000 with their first challenges. Garnered them 70,000 emails through this process, and they obtained $50,000 in monthly recurring revenue. $50,000 in monthly recurring revenue. Do I have your attention yet? Because this is quite critical. You might want to pay attention and you might want to do an online challenge for yourself. We are certainly thinking about it at ADS. So by the way, if you've not been here before, think about subscribing to this channel. Like this video and subscribe to this channel. I want to give you the option now in case you don't make it to the end. Back to this really important story, YouTube. They started out, Jamal Miller and his wife started out on YouTube and they did a Facebook love story. So they tell the story of how they were both two virgins, really like, little young millennials, Christians, really trying to do right and trying to get married and all this, because people are always like, ooh, millennials don't get married anymore, la, la, la. And so they end up finding each other through Facebook, and he was like, basically they were in two completely opposite states. One was in Cali and one was kind of in the kind of the breadbasket of America, I want to say. Don't quote me on the states, I can't remember. They get married and then they start a married and young brand. Okay, and so let me run this down for you what they did. They did 25 ways to prepare for marriage. 30,000 people came to book them every month for this. They wrote a book, because they're like, oh man, 30,000 people are booking us for this 25 ways to prepare for marriage stuff. They thought they were like super awesome. So they wrote a book. It only made $3,000. However, they were not deterred by that. And so in 2018, they went from just doing $3,000 on their book to doing 1.3 mil. One couple, one business, 1.3 mil. All right. So that's worth getting your attention. What did they do at first? They got on a webinar every week for a year. They created the One University, the One, again, playing on all the relationship, single stuff. It was a membership site. And so it was called the Singles Success Path to Marriage. They had remember, it's a ministry thing, so very Christian oriented. They had a challenge called Pray for Your Future Spouse Challenge. So they were challenging people to take 5 days to pray for your future spouse. Okay? So this is what that boiled down to. In 2017, that one challenge got them $213,000, 60,000 email leads, and $34,000 in monthly recurring revenue. In 2018, that same challenge got them $332,000, 70,000 email leads. Again, over $50K in monthly recurring revenue. Total launch value, well over $600,000. Okay, so not insignificant in total launch value. So that's like well over $500,000, okay? So then they had two other challenges, Break the Cycle Challenge, but they didn't really like that one. They said 40% of those people really weren't ideal clients. However, they were thinking of what their ideal client was by then. And they had one other challenge that they call Make Money on Purpose challenge. Make money on purpose or make money and purpose? One or the other. That's what they called it. Okay. Quickly, I'm going to run down what the layout structure is for these challenges according to Jamal. And then you can decide for yourself if you think you can figure out a way to do a challenge in your own business. I think this is very transferable for a lot of businesses. So think about how this could work for you. First, they did a build week. Build week. This is when you're building your challenge, right? So first they ask, what do you want your challenge to accomplish? So there are objectives you can choose for your challenge. 1, create a new audience. 2, re-engage a dead audience. 3, launch a product or service to an existing audience. Okay, so those are the kind of the 3 objectives they laid out. The title of the challenge has to be some kind of unique big idea. So again, they did the Pray for Your Future Spouse challenge, worth over $600K and $50K in monthly recurring revenue. Very awesome. So they took one, that was their unique big idea. And the actual title of the challenge spoke to the promise that the challenge was going to deliver. So, you have to think about what your product or promise is and realize that the more outcome people get from your process, the more value it's worth, right? So that's something to keep in mind. The title speaks to the promise that you're giving people that if you take this challenge, this is what you're going to get. So theirs was Pray for Your Future Spouse challenge. Then you have to think about your daily challenge content. So that speaks to the process or the transformation that you're going to go through, right? So you want to make sure that you are getting results every day, that your people are in their challenge. That's very important. Finally, you want to have some kind of products to offer at the end of the challenge. So once they go through the challenge, which is often free, there are some products you're going to have at the end. And this is where the revenue comes in. That product has to speak to pain points. It has to speak to the pain that your people are experiencing. So one thing they mentioned was a DDS, a deep dive survey. So you're going to want to do that. And their main question they gave to do this survey was, when it comes to blank, what is your biggest pain or frustration? Is ultimately what you want to ask people. When it comes to your hair, what is your biggest pain or frustration? When it comes to writing, what is your biggest pain or frustration? When it comes to your photography, your Instagram, whatever it is that you're doing a challenge around, what is your biggest pain or frustration? And so that's the deep dive survey, they call it, that you want to be asking people, because those pain points are what you want to speak to with the product that you offer by the end of this challenge. Makes sense. He mentioned Pat Flynn. We're Pat Flynn fans here. Pat Flynn had a challenge to go from 0 to 100 email subscribers in 3 days. Good one. We like it. Like it. Jamal mentioned that the number of days for the challenge matters. He says do it between 3 to 7 days is a pretty good length of time for a challenge. You want to consider the cost of the product, because a premium product is going to take a longer amount of time to educate about, whereas a much cheaper $30 ebook, for example, or physical book is going to take a much shorter length of time to educate people on, okay? He also mentioned that, and we are such subscribers of this, done is better than perfect. So he says, do not super overthink this. You need to get in, get it done, learn, do it again. So and obviously within a reasonable amount of time, but by doing it, you're going to inherently learn so much about what to do the next time. These are all just the highlights to get you started, but he said, do not super overthink this. Do not get hung up on your graphics not being perfect, on your content not being super perfect, on everything not being super perfect, because it's not. And if you wait for it to be perfect, it never will, and you will never do this. So he showed examples of, honestly, some of that stuff was kind of crappy. Stuff that they did was not perfect, but was it effective? Yeah, it was. So it worked. Right now, they can afford to make this a premium production, and they spend about $15K on the graphics, on the copywriting, on all of this per challenge, because they have that revenue flowing and they've proven that the concept works. So they're comfortable investing that now because they know if I put in $15K, I'm going to get out $250K. So they're totally fine with that. And that includes your ads, your advertising on Facebook, which he totally said do not shy away from. You need to be aggressively spending on the ads that work on Facebook and otherwise. Landing pages. There's a thank you page. Number one, you want them to join a Facebook group. Very important, because that's a place where you can get to know each other. You're creating a family-like community. Their Facebook group is called Saved and Single. You can see why that's a popular title. And the number of people in there now, 193,000. Okay, 193,000 people. The Facebook group is critical, so you want to make sure you do that. Also, here's the quick launch outline. So you want to do an email. You want to make sure you're on Facebook, Instagram. You have your landing page. Let's see here. And then you're going to want to segment people. So you've got your thank you on your landing page when people sign up for the challenge. You have your email that goes out to them. You're inviting them to the Facebook group. You're asking them to get on your Facebook Messenger, which he said was very, very critical because, as you know, these Facebook Messenger bots and message systems are outbeating email on performance. So very critical. I thought that was a key point in something that they did there. And then you create your emails. This is largely going to be done, really all through email. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, how many days you have. And you're going to end up with a webinar at the end to kind of wrap it all up and congratulate everyone and all that. There's going to be a sales page. So at the sales page, what they do is they have 2 pages that lead after that, 2 options. So you got your sales page with your product, which you've put together, and you're going to have a monthly order page and a yearly order page. So they can choose 2 options. Monthly order is going to be, in the long run, more expensive, but you at least get to break it down into monthly payments. Versus the yearly page, you get a price break and you're paying it all at once. So there's 2 options there. They use Infusionsoft. So we have a picture of their funnel for all this. We'll show it to you so you can see that. Honestly, by now, they have an automation specialist that pulled this together for them. So they did note that they did that. But in the beginning, they did it themselves. And it was not as sophisticated and it was not as lengthy, So just to show you, again, done is better than perfect. Get something done. You prove the concept, you'll have more money to pour into the machine, so to speak, right? Then, after you've built it all, then you've got your invite week. So invite week is going to be 5 to 7 days. You're going to go live every day. Intriguing point. Go live every day. The goal, you want to think about how many people do you want in your challenge? Put a number there. How many people do you want? Is it 100? Is it 60? Is it 200? How many people do you want participating? You need a goal of some sort on that level. And then you're going to send an email. You're going to kick off your emails. You're going to do free live webinars. So you do free live webinars. They're going to be amazing. You're going to be sensational. You're going to be awesome. The guy who does this is very charismatic, funny, hilarious. He's a whole little personality all by himself. So use your own charm, charisma, wit, whatever you've got. But you want to make your webinars, these free ones that you do, very appealing, very attractive, so that by the time they get to the end of them, you're saying to them, you want more of this? Join our 3-day challenge for spend your next 3 days with us. And so it's going to be free, and so people will be doing it. Social channels. So there's a F3 formula that Jamal likes to use. Again, remember that the brand is very personal. It's relationship driven. It's built off of their own personal marriage. It's religious driven. So, this is a different beast from a lot of people's businesses. But again, I'm going to challenge you to think about how this can apply in your own business. Certainly it has worked. Pat Flynn's was over email, 0 to 100 email subscribers in 3 days. It is certainly transferable to other businesses. The 3 F's: family, failure, and flex. Family, failure, and flex. So family was the kind of behind the scenes stuff. They show the kids, they're walking through a park, they're like cooking dinner one day, they're going to the grocery store, they're working out, whatever. These are the behind the scenes, relatable stuff that people can relate to. Failure. He goes back to a story of failure. He talks about how at one point they were on food stamps and how he was the daddy and he was like, my family deserves better. I've got to do better. Flex is how he talks about now they're doing 40,000 people on a challenge. 40,000 people on a challenge. So that's kind of his formula for what works on Instagram. For example, a picture of family, then you do a failure story, and then you talk about flex in your next post. He talks about influencers to help promote the challenge. So at this level, they are now involving influencers to help promote their challenge. And there's plenty to go with that because you can be talking about affiliate commissions and all this that people can get by associating themselves with you and your challenge and saying, I'm going to be doing the Pray for Your Future Spouse Challenge. You know, you should too. Here's how. Go see this dude, la, la, la. Okay, so getting influencers to promote it. He did note that if you're going to go that route and you're going to offer an affiliate commission, you need to know your numbers from your challenge really well in order to understand what you could be giving them commissions for. Very critical, he says. And then also joint ventures, partnering with other influencers and all that. So that was the influencers bit. Facebook ads, very critical. He says how much money to acquire a customer. That's your customer acquisition cost, CAC. So you want to think about that. In their space, to get 60,000 leads, they paid $40,000. So to think about their cost per lead, they worked out that their cost per lead was $1.13. They multiplied that times $40,000 and got a figure of 45.2K. So they mentioned how they had 2,800 customers at 5%. Their customer acquisition cost was $16. So they figured if they're doing a $30 product or a $300 per year, $30 a month product or $300 per year product, they can figure out, you know, like largely what they need to spend on Facebook ads. So they're furiously taking down notes. So I'm going to guess that now they're putting in anywhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 40K for their Facebook ads for these challenges now. Because they are ultimately, what it means is they're figuring out what is the value of the customers they're obtaining by doing this marketing effort, right? Which is a challenge. So that's kind of good. Definitely good. Finally was social proof. So they said, let your friends and family know about all this. Give them something to visually show on their own Instagram pages, Facebook pages, all that. Your branding next to their picture. And boom, all of a sudden you have 1,000 more marketers helping to push your challenge for you. Very smart. All right. Finally, you have a challenge week. So you're going to release the schedule. You're going to send it out a day before. Then there's a profit week. They said, imagine this support for the next year. Profit week, Friday, there was like a secret open with a 17% conversion. Monday, there was an official open cart where everybody else got to find out about it. There was like a 9% conversion rate on that day. And then Tuesday, there was a 24-hour bonus that ended. Wednesday, Facebook Live, blah, blah, blah. You know, so you can figure all that out. That's basically where you're selling. So there was a profit week. So break it back down again. There's a build week. You're building out your launch outline. There's an invite week where you're inviting everyone to participate in this challenge. And then there's a challenge week where you actually run the challenge. And finally, the profit week where you're selling your stuff. So there's a lot to that, but I promise you, you're gonna wanna try this out and break it down for yourself. See how you figure this out. I'm done for today. Again, I'm Andrew with ADS, bringing you the very best in marketing and branding tips. Hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to like and subscribe to this video below. Click the little bell for notifications, and we will see you next time. All right, cheers.